Hello everyone, welcome to Live from Abuja, reaching you from Nigeria's capital city.
On the show, we will take you through major events in politics, entertainment, and sports that shaped the week in Nigeria and globally. I am Jane Francis Mweze.
Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. I am Ademola Lawrence. Interesting conversations we'll be having today, but first, let's start with what happened over the week. NLC and the Nigerian government, the first 2 days of this week were really busy for most of our correspondents, covering the nationwide strike by organized labor unions. From shutting down the national grid to local airport, the strike was full gear.
And the federal government quickly bent to resolve the issue by signing an agreement on increasing the minimum wage to above 60,000 naira. Labor unions decided to relax the strike for a week to give room for further negotiations to continue.
Now, after a meeting between both labor unions and the tripartite committee on Friday night, state and organized private sector have not agreed to peg the new minimum wage at 62,000 naira, while labor still insists on 250,000 naira. The committee says it will submit a report to President Bola Tinubu.
We are making remarkable progress. We've made a lot of progress. Discussions have been very smooth, and we are almost getting to the point of agreement by all the three parties. I'm sure by tomorrow, when we reconvene by 11 o'clock, we will reach to some concrete kind of agreement, and that will be the position of that we will present to the plenary for adoption. No, it is not a matter of, we are taking a holistic approach to the whole issue, because it's not about minimum wage. Wages should be anchored around our capacity to generate revenue, and the sovereignty of the country is important to all of us. It is not about the workers, it's about Nigerians, and it's about our nation. And we have an obligation as citizens to work in hand with the government of the day to ensure that the prosperity comes.
And joining us in the studio this morning to bring further perspective to the whole discussion about the NLC strike and the government agreement and all that, we have a public affairs analyst who is also chairman and partners for electoral reform, Mr. Ezenwawagu. He'll be giving us more perspective on this. Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, good to have you in the studio this week. So, well, we're back. It's looking like our 5 days, 1 week is almost up, and decisions have been made, so to say, on the different parties. But, yeah, not really agreeing, 62,000, 250,000. Where does that leave us?
Well, it leaves us first to intensify negotiations. What you have seen is what labor is about. Labor is about negotiations, is about collective bargaining. And at the end of the day, it represents the interest, the broad interest of the workers. And so when it's satisfied that what has been put on the table would assuage, if you permit that, the current situation among workers, they would budge. But more importantly is to underscore the fact that we need to be a bit more proactive. This is something that has a time span. The minimum wage is like 5 years. After every 5 years, you negotiate. We don't always have to wait, and that's my challenge. We always wait until it's 10 years or nearly 10 years already, after the 30,000 was agreed. So that time lapse now makes it just look like as if there is somebody who is troublesome, who is cantankerous. That's Labour. But that's not supposed to be. In my view, government called a strike, because if they had started negotiation, this tripartite committee can be set up way ahead of that time. So it won't get all your correspondents spending their nights waiting for people and all of those energies that we exert in trying to solve a problem that could have been solved quite a long time earlier would have been conserved, if you like.
I think that because while listening to the TUC president, he spoke about the fact that when this government came in, there was the tripartite committee first started their meeting. Sometimes I think it was sometimes in August or September.
Yes.
August, and they were supposed to resume by November, and that didn't resume. I think they resumed by November again. Then in April there was nothing. In January they met again. In April that was supposed to be the conclusion. There was nothing. There was no meeting that was held until they now set for May 1st, where they said they were going to give government the ultimatum. But now that we're here, the organized labor and the private sector have agreed for a 62,000 naira minimum wage. Labour is still insisting that 250,000 naira. How sustainable do you think this can, if we indeed will have to toe this line?
Well, like I started in my opener, I told you that it's for Labour to make a demand. It's for government to say, everything considered, this is what we can, and being honest about it. Putting all the cards on the table. What do I mean? Your earnings, what are you getting? What will be the expenditure? What will be the consequence on inflation? Yeah. And that's important. When you are honest about that conversation, both parties can agree. There is no one. We all are Nigerians. We want the best for our country. Because at the end of the day, there are consequences for the increase. Those consequences could trigger inflation. It could trigger, cost of living could get higher. Market people are waiting now to hear what you have decided. All of those things will be put into. But for me, the 250,000 pegged by Labour is still negotiable. It's still that the 62,000 the governors are saying have not met perhaps the demand of Labour, and government will need to come up a bit more, and don't let us get into another strike. That's important, because what Labour did was to suspend this for 1 week. And if they are not satisfied, their organs are not satisfied, they will have to use the instrument that is available to workers, which is to withdraw their services. So for me, is to say that all those who are concerned right now, the governors, for instance, who will say they can't pay, the organized private sector, will have to work with government to put the indices that can assuage the feeling of the workers who bear the burden of the removal of fuel subsidy, who bear the high cost of living, the inflation, electricity tariff, all of those things, including those of us who pretend now that it doesn't concern us. We will be brought into it eventually when this will happen. But I am concerned that the percentage of those who are in the public sector that all of these are working on do not probably also take care of the informal sector that is burgeoning, that is huge, and that will have consequences for all of this. So, but my sense is, let us put all of this together on the table and amicably resolve it without a further disruption of the lives and livelihoods of majority of the citizens who bear the brunt of all of this.
Okay, so Mr. Wago, now putting things...
Can you call me Ezenwa?
Okay, Ezenwa, yeah. So putting things into perspective, I mean, it was really very hard on a lot of people on Monday with the grid shut down and airports not functional. So government quickly had to, Labour got the attention of government quickly, and of course the strike was eventually suspended because government was ready to now calm down and sit on the table. But then you also brought in the informal sector, where you have a lot of more of the employers of Labour, the private sector. So when we put these things in perspective, with government saying 62,000 and Labour saying 250,000 naira, how do we think that, government and the informal sector, as you put it, or the private sector, can actually do better to match up with Labour and have us have a settled amount, at the weakest time, so to say?
So it's, like I said, it's about honesty. It's about the integrity of the conversation. And what do I mean by that? The people you are negotiating with are reasonable people. They are educated, even probably more educated than the people on the side of the government. So what you need to do is to put the indices on the table in clear terms. What is it? If you plug corruption, if you plug the holes of corruption, okay, the wasteful expenses in government, you will have enough money. You will have enough money to pay, workers. What, not just now minimum wage, but what we currently are calling living wage. Plug the excesses. There are too many excesses and wastages, in the system that once you are able to plug them, you free the resources. Okay, you can fund education, you can fund electricity, which is a human right, which is a right of your citizens to have power, so that they can also produce and then help the economy that you have. So when all of this is put on the table, in my view, we can have a headway. Now, the organized private sector also that exploits the labor of majority of the people who work for them will have to up their game. Why? Because production will have to increase. When you pay people better, they will give you much more of their services. But we also are in a place where you talk about mobility. If I don't pay you well, you can go to the next point. But we have to have a benchmark of what will be reasonable to pay an average worker in Nigeria, considering the situation that we are currently in, the economic, what do you call it now? The economic crisis that we're currently facing. And it's undeniably that we are in a crisis right now. So how do you want a family of 4-6 to survive with the kind of pay that is going on? We need to up that, and 62,000, in my view, is not good enough.
I agree with you that 62,000 naira might not be enough. Considering the economic crisis, the challenges that we're actually facing. When you were speaking the other time, you talk about how inflation will, of course, will skyrocket. And if you look at Nigeria currently now, the inflation is way above 30,000. Yeah. 30%. Yeah. So if you look at that, that simply means that going by that, let's say, for example, the Labour now agrees that, government now agrees that I'm going to pay a level 1, 250,000 naira. I think it's more of the organized private sector.
It's not for labor. You see, what
I'm just saying that.
Demola, listen, you work here.
Yeah.
It's not, you have services that you render.
Yeah.
Okay? And if you go to negotiation, you come from your highest. In the days when we were in the student movement, if we had a problem with the university authority, we start with the vice chancellor must go. The vice chancellor, all our demands will start with the VC must go. So you are shouting VC must go, but you know that's not what you are going to do. Okay? So they will say, okay, the VC, leave VC matter. Can we discuss, these main issues? You have 10 issues, they can give you 3. At that point, you can go to the people you represent and say, I have got something for you. Okay? So what I'm saying is that the people concerned are not unreasonable. They also understand the economics. Okay? They understand that the current privatization, commercialization, and all the World Bank pressure that is put on Nigeria, if we can wrestle ourselves away from it, we'll be able to free resources to make the lives of our people better. And it's as simple as that. So it has nothing to do with, whether somebody is unreasonable. I just think that what government needs to do is to say, Labour, come. This 62,000 we are talking about, this is why we are saying it. And Labour will say, no, these are our own arguments. We can come down from the 250. The 250 is not grail message. It's not the law of mates and patience that cannot be broken.
All right.
Well, thank you very much, everyone, for the perspective.
I just want to ask you one more question while we go. How much do you think it should be pegged?
I have no idea. My sense is that this negotiation should get to the point where everybody is happy. Okay. Labour is happy, government is comfortable.
All right.
Thank you very much, Ezenwa, for giving us this perspective that we're looking out for, which is how these things would affect. And we hope that as soon as possible, it would all be resolved between the tripartite, government and all. So thank you very much for joining us on the show this morning.
Thank you.
All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, we'll still have more for you on live from Abuja. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
The National Assembly is a busy place. As the bastion of democracy, it is a place where bills are presented, motions debated, laws made, and the yearnings of the people are laid bare. Come with us as we take you through the workings of the National Assembly. We take you through plenary, committee meetings, and probes, all to ensure smooth working of the democratic process.
Life is politics. In Nigeria, almost every part of our lives is touched by the politics we play. Governance, legislative matters, the economy, security, foreign affairs, internal affairs. Have a feel as strategic plays in the political space determine how we live in Nigeria. The players, the drama, chess piece moves. Be kept informed. Major happenings in the political space and how it affects you. Watch Politics on Sunday.
Okay, it's World Environment Day, and of course, it's the biggest international day for environment. Millions of people from governments, business, civil society, and education institutions participate annually to raise awareness and take actions on environmental issues, aiming to protect our planet's future.
Now, this year's theme, Our Land, Our Future, emphasizes the importance of restoring land, combating desertification, and enhancing resilience to drought. Currently, up to 40% of the world's land is degraded, impacting around 3.2 billion people globally due to desertification. Projections suggest that by 2050, over 3/4 of the world's population will be affected by drought.
Nigeria boasts of some of the richest flora, land, and faunal biodiversity in Africa. The World Environment Day, with the theme Land Restoration, Desertification and Drought Resilience, is taking place here with experts seeking both local and global solutions. This will be done through mainstreaming climate change adaptation and resilience building measures into the nation's national development plans and policies, through promoting climate-smart agriculture and providing support to vulnerable communities in order to adapt to changing environmental conditions.
Our semi-arid and Sahel regions are characterized by land degradation, drought, and desertification, and in turn it encourages and also further destroys our environment and create poverty and food insecurity within the society.
Continuous advocacy engagements, public awareness campaigns, and climate actions, including education, is a vital angle which must bring every Nigerian on board, both young and old, to support government efforts and activities.
The benefit of Nigeria's biodiversity is estimated to be over $8 billion annually. Nigeria's Ministry of Environment says the benefit of investing in nature are enormous.
The World Economic Forum have found that nature-positive economy could generate up to 10.1 trillion USD in businesses every year and create 396 million jobs by 2030.
There is an additional return, dividend for the society when we invest in a better management of our ecosystem.
Tree planting campaigns remain key to restoring the land and improving Nigeria's forest cover.
Focus area of NSPC Foundation is to undertake impactful and sustainable initiatives on environment.
With the launch of these climate justice youth ambassadors and other initiatives, experts say measures will continue to be implemented in order to restore degraded landscapes, promote sustainable land management practices, and enhance the resilience of communities to drought and desertification in Nigeria.
Now joining us is the climate advocate Evelyn Ogbe, who joins us to speak more on this. Hello, Ms. Evelyn.
Hey, good morning.
Morning.
Happy to be here.
Okay, so let's start this way. World Environment is here again, and of course, do we have reasons to celebrate this? With most nations largely grappling with the effects of climate change, do we really have to do this?
Okay, good morning. Thank you for having me on the show. So, of course, World Environment Day, dated back as early as 1973, where the United Nations recognized the need to celebrate the World Environment Day. So the issue is not just about environmental degradation and all of the disasters that happened around the environment. There are still some gains to celebrate. Several years ago in Nigeria, there was no climate change commission. But now there is a climate change commission. The bill was deliberated at the National Assembly and eventually passed. That shows some level of commitment to tackling environmental issues, and that shows some level of progress in terms of tackling environmental issues. So yes, it is important to celebrate the World Environment Day, to recommit stakeholders, government, development partners, civil society organizations, and the public at large to recommit our effort to protecting the environment. So as much as the challenges are there, it's also important to celebrate the gains and inspire more environmental resilience actions.
Well, so this year's theme, is focused on desertification, drought, and land degradation. So, Evelyn, I'm considering a lot of things in my head, and I'm wondering, how can we do more to tackle this? Because there is the climate change issue, but I also feel that there are a lot of human, factors also that we're doing not to treat the lands better. So, how can we do better to tackle these various problems?
Yes, thank you for that. So in your opening, you even mentioned that about 40% of the land is degraded. That's a United Nations, is data from the United Nations Convention to combat desertification. So yes, there's so much to do. Typically and traditionally, tree planting, yes, is one of the ways to go. But what kind of trees are we planting? Usually the focus in Nigeria is around economic trees. Are these trees drought resistant? So yes, tree planting, but strategic tree planting is also very important. In addition to that is sustainable agriculture. As you know, the Nigerian economy thrives on agriculture. So are we practicing agriculture sustainably? For example, are we opting for local-based and organic options? For example, like the fertilizers we use, it contributes a lot to soil degradation. Are we supporting use of organic fertilizers, use of organic pesticides? Look within our environment. There are organizations who are working on local-based solutions, such as the neem pesticides. The neem plant is everywhere, every nook and cranny in Nigeria. So, using this kind of local-based and sustainable solutions is also very important to reinforce or support sustainable agriculture. Then very close to that is the aspect of women inclusion in sustainable land management. Bulk of the land in Nigeria is owned by men. There's a gender lens to it. If women have secured land rights, their capacities are enhanced on sustainable agriculture. I think it will also contribute immensely to supporting land restoration. Then very close to that is also the need to involve the private sector. Some of these local-based solutions, how do we have more research entities build up on these solutions, amplify, and have the private sector also invest so these solutions are homegrown and also contribute to sustainable land restoration and at large sustainable development. So tree planting is the way to go, sustainable agriculture is the way to go, and also inclusion of women in land management as well as private sector investment in sustainable agriculture solutions is also a key recommendation.
Okay, so you already answered the question I wanted to ask, because I wanted to talk about how best can we increase, do better in protecting our planet. But let me ask you this. Human-induced environment damage is escalating at a very high rate, with serious consequences such as climate change, ecosystem loss, and land desertification. How can the current generation, of course, protect the environment and restore land and nature to their natural state? How do we do that?
I think it has to do a lot with a mindset, investment in orientation and a mindset change. This generation, particularly Gen Z generation, is raised in a quick fix kind of attitude. So, what's programs around mindset change, around reorientation should be prioritized. For example, I hear a climate from the report. I hear a climate ambassadors and environmental restoration network. We want to see more government program priorities focus on enlightening youths, changing the mindset of the next generation. We also want to see a situation where donor funding are also prioritizing youth-based organizations, supporting their local solutions to climate, to environmental conservation, and building resilience of communities. So yes, investment in the young generation through youth-based solutions, through public budgets, so through donor funding is also important to achieve youth inclusion in environmental restoration.
All right. So we're told that one of the ways of healing our lands is, each and every one of us planting trees. So during the build up to this very great day, I was just thinking, because I live in a place where everywhere is locked, and so if I had made up my mind to plant a tree, I would not know how to do that. But beyond planting the trees, and if we're saying that there's the certification, the lands are not producing or as healthy as they would be, how would planting trees help? Because maybe understanding these things could actually encourage more people. Yeah.
Typically, this is very practical. When you want to park your car, most people struggle to park their cars under a tree. That shows that there is some sort of benefit alluded to tree planting. One, trees also act as windbreaks. If you notice in climes where trees are planted, there tends to be reduction in erosion. Trees also have a way of providing some sort of succor to the environment in areas where compare the core north and part of the middle belt. You can see the difference. The difference is very clear in terms of the weather. During the heat waves, people are literally dying. But with the presence of trees, with trees being planted, it serves as a succor to the environment. If you go to Katsina State, that's Katsina State, the capital of Katsina, it is quite the environment.
All right, of course, that that break in transmission?
Well, of course, Evelyn had, I think she had been the key point. Tree signifies life and it gives shade. So I don't know if you did plants this week, but I would do my bit to plant.
I'll try as well. All right, we'll go on a break. When we come back is World Brain Tumor Day. We'll talk more about this after this break.
Life is politics. In Nigeria, almost every part of our lives is touched by the politics we play. Governance, legislative matters.
A brain tumor occurs when the cells inside the brain start growing at an abnormal speed, which forms a mass of abnormal cells in the brain. The enclosed space inside the skull is limited, and when these abnormal cells start closing in the space, the symptoms are observed.
World Brain Tumor Day is observed on June 8 every year to raise awareness and educate people about the brain tumors. There's no description of a brain tumor in the ancient medical text, but there's a recurring mention of skull trepanation, surgical intervened borehole into the human skull to relieve the symptoms of a brain tumor.
Right. Okay, so Health Talks, one of the... Yeah. But Chika Okwesi is the Executive Director of Brain and Spine Foundation Africa, and she joins us live this morning to discuss more on the World Brain Tumor Day and also how survivors, manage with this health challenge. So good thing there is hope, there are survivors, but explain to us in a bit of realistic terms what brain tumor is all about.
Thank you for having me. I'm so honored to be here this morning. You have just described what brain tumor is in a simplest form. Brain tumor occurs when the cells in the brain start growing in an abnormal speed, forming a mass of abnormal tissue inside the brain. World Brain Tumor Day is observed every year on the June 8th all over the world to raise awareness on brain tumor and also to support people who are affected with brain tumor. Brain tumor is one of the most debilitating diseases of the brain. And it has two types. One is benign, that is primary brain tumor, or one is benign, one is malignant. It can be benign or malignant. And also it's classified in different forms too. Brain tumor can be it's classified based on the location, the cells that forms the brain tumor, and also the size of the brain tumor. Brain tumor affects a lot of people, but due to lack of awareness, especially in sub-Saharan Africa, Nigeria included, people don't get to get diagnosis on time. So late diagnosis don't help a lot of patients in recovery and also in the treatment. Considering the fact that brain tumor is also expensive to treat. So poverty, lack of resources also do not help a lot of patients. Brain and Spine Foundation Africa was founded in 2017 after a first-hand harrowing experience of a brain event that happened to my younger sister.
Okay, so I really wanted you to talk about that because I know you have a first-hand experience of what it is, what this is all about. So just tell us from a survival point of view.
Okay.
How do you think this initiative can help somebody who has a brain tumor? But first, I know you have a story to tell. Tell us how this helped you.
How it has helped me?
From your, from the story, from your personal story.
From a personal story,
Yes.
from a survival point of view.
Okay, I am not the one that
I know.
I was a caregiver.
Yes, so from somebody
survivor.
So.
Okay. The person that I helped did not suffer brain tumor.
Okay.
But I have helped a lot of brain tumor patients and survivors.
Yeah.
Some of them have also died. Some survived. Some are still recuperating. So brain tumor impacts the patient in a very in numerous ways. And it's not just the person, the individual patient, that the brain tumor can impact negatively. Family, the caregivers, the whole community, they all have the suffering of the person that is having the brain tumor affects everyone in a very negative way because they all have to
endure the suffering.
Endure the suffering together.
Yeah.
Do you get? So it's not an easy disease to overcome. It's not an easy disease to treat in this side of the world because of lack of awareness. So we are trying to see how to create awareness and encourage early detection and early treatment.
All right. So, but you were going to tell us about your sister. So even though you said she didn't have brain tumor, but what was that experience of hers that now kind of helped you to come up with this for brain and spine patients?
Okay, like I was just trying to say initially, Brain and Spine Foundation was established after a first-hand harrowing experience. And it was the time that my sister suffered a brain hemorrhage. And I was thrown into the space, not knowing what to do. In the course of taking care of her, I had to discover that there was this darkness when it comes to our neurological health, when it comes to brain and spine. People do not understand the diseases, how it comes. Anything that has to do with brain, most of the times are misunderstood to be spiritually related or culturally related. So I noticed that a lot of people are suffering from those cultural limitations, and I decided that it was time to do something. That was why Brain and Spine Foundation Africa was established to advance, first of all, support the government in advancing the neurological health care, then enhancing the quality of lives of individuals who are affected by neurological conditions. So today is World Brain Awareness, World Brain Tumor Day, and we felt that it's also important in our community. We have a lot of survivors and also some patients who are also awaiting treatment, but because of lack of resources, they are still there waiting without the treatment that they need.
All right, so you've seen a lot, with taking care of your sister who didn't have brain tumor but brain hemorrhage, and I would have actually loved you to break down what hemorrhage is. I mean, the difference between it and tumor. But then also in starting up Brain and Spine Africa, you've also come across a lot of people. You said some have survived, some are still in the process, some have died also. But can you tell us, what one encouraging thing that someone out there who probably was just diagnosed could learn about a possibility of living through brain tumor, surviving and living beyond the survival? Because sometimes managing life after these major illnesses is not really easy.
And how family can be able to support such person?
Yes, like I said, when somebody is have diagnosis of brain tumor, it comes with a lot of sadness, anger, confusion,
despair.
Why me? Some questions. But there is hope because people have survived. People are living with the deficits too, some neurological deficits that come with it. So what the person that has diagnosis first has to do is make sure that the person gets back on seat, relax, ask questions. Where do I start? Like, for example, it's so easy for a lot of Nigerians to always conclude that there is no cure or that there is no remedy. Even in Nigeria, there are neurosurgeons, there are hospitals that can help. But you've oftentimes see them concluding and rushing to India. Sometimes they get there and they get stuck. And also do maybe partial treatment and still come back to meet some neurosurgeons here in Nigeria. So when somebody has a diagnosis of brain tumor, that is first step, that at least you have the diagnosis of of the tumor. Then the second thing you have to do is make sure that you ask questions. Where will I get the treatment? How, is there any support group around? People that have gone through what I'm about to go through? Is there any help around? If people that have maybe monetary problems, they can ask for help from people, because oftentimes one family can't afford to shoulder the cost of these diseases of the brain. It's very, very, it can be overwhelming, for people that don't have a good insurance, health insurance, which most of us here suffer from.
Wow. Thank you.
Right.
Serious. It's too much to handle.
Well, definitely. I mean, one thing you've done is to give maybe hope to someone out there that you can actually reach out and ask for help. Because one of the problems people have also is when there is a major diagnosis of such, terminal diseases, they just tend to want to soak it in, keep to themselves, and wait out their time, even when the person could actually, be saved. And like you said, brain tumor, you even start by determining whether it's benign or malignant. So maybe it's not even malignant yet, and then you wait it out till it gets, to the point where you want. So thank you for coming to share this experience with us this morning, and to give a message of hope to someone out there that ask questions, reach out. Maybe there's some trust fund you don't know about, or some support group that can help to raise funds. So thank you.
Thank you very much for that.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
Now let's go to headline news.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu says his administration is committed to infrastructure development and urban renewal. He reaffirmed this commitment while commissioning the completion of roads B6, B12 and Sako Road in Abuja, which has been opened up to boost the economy of the nation's capital. I don't know who else is as happy as I am about this road projects.
I'm very happy. The presidency has denied that the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edu, has proposed 105,000 naira in the minimum wage template.
Okay, so we're getting somewhere definitely.
Of course.
Yeah, and the airline operators of Nigeria have opposed the $300 helicopter landing and takeoff fee, which was proposed to be implemented by the federal government, insisting that it must be permanently scrapped.
And freight services have resumed on the 1,132-kilometer corridor-hold Lagos-Kano narrow gauge railway line after the completion of the rehabilitation. And freight services on Lagos-Kano narrow gauge railway line were relaunched as announced by Minister of Transportation Seidu Akali via a statement on his official X accounts. Okay.
And the Business Comptroller General of the Nigeria Customs Service, Adewale Adeni, says the service has generated 1.34 trillion in the first quarter of 2024. This is with 474 seizures amounting to 1.9 trillion made by its operatives.
And outside Nigeria, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has condemned a paramilitary attack on village in Sudan that reportedly left more than 100 people dead.
Several Palestinians have been killed and many others were injured during a series of Israeli airstrikes across different parts of the Gaza Strip in the continued attack.
Interesting. And South Africa's ruling African National Congress, ANC party, has agreed to form a government of national unity after losing its majority in last week's election. President Cyril Ramaphosa announced this on last Thursday. Interesting.
Well, very interesting. And of course, we will be going on a break. And when we come back, we'll be giving you more news from entertainment and sports.
Life is politics. In Nigeria, almost every part of our lives is touched by the politics we play. Governance, legislative matters, the economy, security, foreign affairs, internal affairs. Have a feel as strategic plays in the political space determine how we live in Nigeria. The players, the drama, chess piece moves. Be kept informed. Watch analysis of major happenings in the political space and how it affects you. Watch Politics on Sunday.
Bringing you news from the entertainment world. Nigerian dancehall sensation Ruga extends his blistering form with the release of 2 new singles titled Love Again and Make Way. The released singles kicks off what is expected to be a busy summer for the superstar, who has consistently churned out his records since breaking into the mainstream in 2020 with his debut EP, Pandemic.
And Nigerian filmmaker Bolanle Austin Peters has spoken about her motivation for the film Fumilayo Ransom Kuti, revealing that she was motivated by a desire to empower future generations through powerful storytelling. In the interview, she was asked about the importance of the film, and Bolanle emphasized on a need to showcase Nigerian heroes, particularly for young generations, highlighting the lack of exposure to these stories compared to Western figures.
Wow, so much energy. Nigerian street hop sensation Portable has called out Vector after misinterpreting the rapper's lyrics as a diss targeted at him. Portable took to his Instagram live to vent his anger at Vector, who he claimed dissed him on a recent song through the line, Lion King, no be Zazu.
Okay, Nigerian singer Seun Kuti has put the government of Lagos State on blast for not planting fruit trees around, stressing that they ought to so that people would have access to them. In a recent Instagram live stream session, he emphasized the need for trees in the environment.
Okay, one more person speaking about the importance of trees.
Of course.
Kanye West's legal woes are building up like Yeezy sneakers in an Adidas warehouse as a new sexual assault case has been slammed against him by his former assistant, Lauren Pisiota, who has filed a lawsuit against him alleging sexual harassment and wrongful termination of their working contract. Pisiota, who worked for West for 2 years, alleges that he sent her sexually explicit texts and behaved inappropriately during her tenure. West has not yet publicly responded to the allegations. Guys, beware. That's all I can say.
Okay, let's move straight to sport news. I have nothing to say about that. And promoter Hayden Hearn hinted that Anthony Joshua is set to get a shot at becoming the undisputed heavyweight champion by facing the winner of the rematch between Tyson Fury and Alexandra Usyk. Hearn said that if Joshua wins in September. It could face the winner of the December rematch. Joshua will last fought in March when he brutally knocked out Francis Ngannou in Saudi Arabia. He's expected to take on Daniel Dubious on September at Wembley Stadium. Dubious recently won the IBF interim belt by stopping Philip Hergok.
And Premier League clubs have consented to trial an alternative financial system which operates like a spending cap in the 2024-2025 season. The squad cost rules, SCR and top-to-bottom anchoring rules, TBA, will operate alongside the existing profitability and sustainability rules, PSR, on a non-binding basis. Top-flight clubs face difficulties with the profitability and sustainability rules in the just concluded season, with Nottingham Forest and Everton both receiving points deductions for breaches. During the trial phase, teams will be allowed to spend no more than 85% of their total revenues on squads under the new system. Meanwhile, the top-to-bottom anchoring rules is an anchoring model based on the earnings of the bottom club. So the Premier League said the TBA is designed to be a preemptive measure to protect the competitive balance of the Premier League. The clubs also voted to continue using video assistant referees. And trust me, we need to start using more video assistant referees in the whole of Africa, because yesterday when Nigeria played South Africa, we could have gone 2 goals up if we had a VAR to review a situation in that match that could have given us a penalty. Yes, they hacked down Basiru in the 18-yard box. Guys, it ended 1-1 Nigeria, South Africa. Not the result many people wanted. Definitely not what Fini the judge would want. But yes.
So I think that Nigerians are passion-loving football fans.
Passion-loving.
Passion-loving.
Okay, thank you.
No, passion-loving football fans. We always want our team to go out there and win, but unfortunately, some things happen.
No, in 3 games out of 10 for the World Cup qualification, we have 3 points out of a possible 9. Let's even say out of a possible 6, because 2 have been at home. So we have 7 more games. What's the guarantee we're winning all 7? Because if not, South Africa is 1 point ahead of us currently. Lesotho, embarrassingly, is leading our group.
Okay, let me ask you.
Yes,
those other 2 countries. What are they vying for?
Well, they don't stand a chance.
No.
You're talking about Lesotho, Zimbabwe, Rwanda, going to the World Cup ahead of Nigeria. That's not even a conversation.
Why is not?
They are playing not to be removed from action.
I don't get
Not that they are thinking they'll go to the World Cup.
I don't
think they think they'll go to the World Cup.
So Togo that went to the World Cup in 2006, what happened to them?
That's Togo.
I don't get it.
That's Togo.
And
they probably were not in the same group with South Africa and Nigeria. Like the only 2 people. I mean, we can excuse ourselves if it's South Africa that is going
before
ahead
Togo
of us.
went.
Still very sad.
Before Togo went to the World Cup in 2006, nobody was giving Togo the chance. If you do a proper checkup, if you put your house in order, you will not be having this conversation. Whether Lesotho should be on top or Lesotho should be the one with 1 point or Lesotho should be down. I think that properly putting things in order. You know that you have a game. You know that you have opponents. Why do you have to underrate your opponents in the first place?
Nobody is underrating.
But they have been underrated. That's what it is.
No one is underrating anyone. A lot of factors is working against the Nigerians. So
Why?
Nigerians want to watch, a fluid playing side that passes the ball around, but that has not worked very well for us. So over time, Rod stopped listening to everybody, started playing defensive and hitting on the counter. But yeah, we want to see beautiful game and goals. I think it wouldn't work for us, but definitely Finidi is under pressure and he knows that the next game against Benin Republic, who is coached by our former coach Gennett Raw, is a must-win for us.
It's indeed a must-win as Nigeria will face Benin Republic
on Tuesday.
And that will be, of course, Gennett Raw against Fina the Judge. Thank you very much for joining us on the show. My name is Ademola Lawrence. Join us next week as we bring you another interesting and powerful program.
I am Jane Francis Mweze. Of course, continue watching TVC News.
The Inspector General of Police has met with senior officers to review the state of security.